everyone. I can see you jumping in here. Glad to have you on our Taste the Trend call or video virtual class tonight. And I've been thinking a lot about the classes and how we bring them to people. And I think it's just so cool. On our website, we have a lot of the classes connected through our YouTube channel, where you can go if there's a tip you want or something you don't remember exactly. Let's say you have some molds and you forgot how to use them or you haven't used them in a while. It takes, basically 3 weeks to get on a new program, a new journey, and 6 weeks to make a habit, 6 weeks to break a habit. So I just want to say that I just know so many people and so many of us have been using this product for over 20 years and it works every time you use it and stays good forever. So cheers to the products that we're using today. We've got the mini muffin tray for the lemon blueberry cream cheese muffins that I'm making. And Leslie is making Greek tomatoes. And I think what I want to do right now, and then I'll come back to you, is Leslie, I just want to thank you for doing so many of the plant-based recipes for us. It's so helpful. And I think that all of us, whether we live a plant-based diet or not, plant-based is really good for us to incorporate to other things that we're eating or eat on its own. I believe that eating in color is the best thing that you can actually do in your life. And the more color that you're eating, you know that you're going to be healthier, period. So before we get started with Leslie with those it's Greek to me stuffed tomatoes, I have the blueberry muffins done. I'm just going to pop a couple out so you can see how that goes. I have already popped some of them out. And if you can't see this, just let me know. I'm just going to set this here. When you unmold things, especially like cakes or muffins, the mini muffins, look how cute this is. It's so adorable. I like to take my thumbs actually, and I take the back of the tray like this, and I just push down, and you can see they're already starting to pop out. I hit one of them on my way. So nice and so simple and so beautiful. I have quite a few blueberries in here, so you want to make sure that you unmold them within the first 10 to 12 minutes. And this is what we're going to make tonight. They're really yummy, and I can't wait to share the recipe with you. But before I do, we're on to Leslie Burnett.
Hi, Doug just, of course, wanted to come in from outside, and she's a little bit wet, so we're getting a spring rain. All right, hi everybody. I have got my little pan on here, and I'm going to do some of the roasted garlic oil. So it says 2 tablespoons for this recipe, and this is divided. So do 1 tablespoon of it when you are doing your pan here. And pan is a little bit hot. I have a hard time figuring out the correct temperature with this one. I made my first batch in my oven. Okay. So I'm putting a clove of garlic and half of a red onion. I think it called for a small red onion. So I'm doing, of course, half the recipe right now because I have behind me that came out of the oven. All right. Well, we're going to cook those until they're translucent, which is not going to take long. It's a little bit warm. So to this, we are going to add some chopped. By the way, I chopped the garlic in here. I have a little bit left. Take that out. Let's see. And the red onion, of course, in the Ego chop, because I hadn't done this recipe before, and I never know exactly how long I should take showing you things and what I should prep ahead of time. So I did that, but we're going to chop up I have kale that I'm using, and some beautiful colors of peppers, and then also a zucchini. So the recipe calls for 2 cups of fresh spinach, or you can do the kale. You have some other options. Of course, if you've been here before, you know how quick and easy it is to chop all of that up. And look at those beautiful colors. So it's 2 cups of the kale or spinach, half of a small red onion. Well, that's in here. The garlic is in here. The zucchini and the red bell pepper are in here. And they're getting all chopped up, of course, with a few chops of the Eco Top. So we're going to put this in here so that it can get these vegetables tender. We are doing stuffed tomatoes. They're Greek. And so this is going to be our filling. And we will move on to our tomatoes and prepping them while these vegetables get a little soft here. This will cook for about 4 to 5 minutes. I just love all these colors. So this calls for 6 tomatoes. You can use heirloom, which I looked for heirloom because they're so pretty, but they weren't quite large enough. And so I just got some beefsteak tomatoes. I have 2 of them here. I used 2 ahead of time. So I'm only doing 4 instead of the 6. So guess what? I had a little bit of the filling left over and I tasted it and it's super good, which I was glad because after smelling the garlic, yeah, it's like garlic and onions. Oh yeah, I'm a little bit hungry. All right, so for the tomato, you cut the top off and you leave about 1/4 inch around, which it works out really well with just cutting to the walls of inside the tomato. And I had a great idea to use grapefruit knife, a grapefruit spoon, so it's serrated on the edges. So I just went around here and scooped this out. If you don't have one of those, you can use a paring knife or just try a spoon and see how it goes and just scoop all that out. By the way, don't get rid of the tops. We're going to use those for our presentation at the end. So now we're just going to scoop all of this out. Actually, I'm going to put it on my cutting board because we're going to chop up the tomatoes. Okay, I thought this would be easy to do and show you guys. Of course, you know, it's taken a minute longer than it needs to.
It only feels long to you, Leslie. It's going by quick for us.
Okay, all right. So I pretty much have this cleaned out, then you can see. All right, so we'll set those off to the side and our the tops of our tomatoes as well. Now this, I'm just going to chop this up really fast with our knife here. You could, of course, use the Eco Top too. And I'm just going to chop it a couple different ways. And then I have it in a bowl here that I'll just set off to the side. All right. Okay, this is looks a little bit messy, but it's okay. All right, so let's see what our next step is. Set this off to the side. So our vegetables look a little bit tender here and they are ready to go. Let me see how pretty they are. All right. So they've softened up and those flavors have melded together. All right, so let's see here. Cook the vegetables, add, okay, so I need my bowl. So we are going to put the cooked vegetables into our bowl. This is where we're just going to toss everything together to make the filling for our tomatoes. By the way, quickly, before the class started, I counted up all the vegetables that are in here. And including the seasonings, there's about 20 different vegetables, fruits. Well, there's not tomatoes and fruit, right? There's the vegetables and herbs and things in here. And if you've read about gut microbiome, it's great to have about 30 each week. So guess what? You're getting 20 just with this recipe here. What I had read too about that is not to worry so much about the amount you get, because of course in our herbs you're getting a little bit, but over the course of the week it will be great. Okay, all right, so we've got this. So let's see what else we're going to add to this. We are going to add the chopped tomato pulp. So all the stuff that I just chopped up in this bowl, we're going to put in this one now. Okay. And we are going to add feta cheese. Yum, that's a great flavor for the Greek, of course, right? I know Cindy has some great tips about feta. If you want to share that, Cindy, you can do that now or later. The recipe calls for pine nuts, and it says to toast them, which is a great way to get more flavor out. I am using sunflower seed kernels. I love that there are options. This recipe does have options down at the bottom, and I used the kale instead of the spinach, and then these sunflower seed kernels instead of the pine nuts. So, all right, let's see what else we have here. Olive tapenade, yum. Okay, I've got this prepped and ready to go. So let me see. It's two tablespoons of the French pantry tapenade. So there's one because I'm doing half of the recipe. All right, let's see. The celery, herbs de Provence. Okay, celery. I think that was lemon though. The lemon thyme salt, that says a tablespoon. So we'll just give a little bit of that in there. I love all these flavored salts. Gives you lots of different fun tastes. This also has the Telechuk cherry pepper. So we will add that in. And the herbs de Provence. So the herbs de Provence is 1 teaspoon. So this is what we have here. It's beautiful. And it's still a little bit warm because those vegetables are still, just came out of the pan there. So we're just going to stir these together. Now, also the recipe calls for either fresh parsley or mint. So I grabbed some mint from my backyard, and if you don't have mint, put it in a container unless you want it to fill up everything. So it will stop. There you have. But who doesn't love mint?
Right.
All right. So there we go. All right. So our next thing we're going to do is stuff the tomatoes. All right. So I'm using the large round mold, and I am using the large perforated baking sheets. So let me grab my tomatoes. I'm not going to put the lid there. And then we're going to scoop this filling in here. And like I said, this recipe is for 6 tomatoes. So I had some left over, but go ahead and pack it in there. And you don't have to worry. I'm getting a little bit that's falling off the side, but that's another benefit of using the flexi pans, the 4Ts pieces. You don't have to worry about anything falling and getting stuck because nothing sticks. Even you saw that I didn't prep the bowl at all. So we can just easily put our food that we're cooking right into our pan. No need for oils or sprays, any of those types of things. All right, so now look at our beautiful tomatoes. They're ready to go in the oven. So these bake for a half an hour at 375. They should look a little golden on top. And if not, just bake them a little bit longer. Everybody's oven's different. So let me go grab the ones that are finished. Okay. There you go. So you can tell, I don't know if you can tell, the tops are a little bit wrinkly. You can tell that they're a little bit baked there, I think. So I want to grab one of them and plate it. And I grabbed a steak knife. But you know what? I didn't grab a fork. I don't often use steak knives in my home anymore because I've been plant-based for a couple years. Oh my goodness. But sometimes when you eat a big portabella, or this, I think we will definitely need a knife. Oh, and another thing it said you can do is drizzle some balsamic over the top, which I think balsamic is always a good idea. So I have some of this. All right. Oh, by the way, I only used part of that oil. I can go back and drizzle that over there. So should I do it on the top of this or should I do it here? I'll do it here.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we can cut into this. Look how beautiful that is. All those different flavors. I tried it earlier, man. I love it. I love the tapenades. They're just so full of flavor. I love using them when I make pizza. I love to use the tomato. I love to use the olive and everything. All right, here we go. That just melts in your mouth. So many flavors. Okay, Cindy, take it away.
Wow, thank you so much, Leslie. I know this recipe. I created this one, and it is a fabulous recipe. And I love your swap for the kale instead of spinach and some of the other tips that you shared. Thank you so much for that. I wish I was eating in your kitchen right now. It sounds so good. And one thing I want to say about those tomatoes, you think that if you stuff a tomato and you don't eat all of them, you think that you can't eat it the next day. Right. It's like when you make stuffed peppers, the next day, all of the flavors have melded together and the taste is outrageously great. And the tomatoes are the exact same way. They taste fabulous the first night and they're double power the second day, whether you eat them for lunch. Usually my husband, I will pack them for him to take to lunch to work. So thank you for that. And the feta cheese, I am a firm believer, and I learned this from my husband's family. Bulgarian cheese is, it is the king of feta cheese. And it is creamy, it is salty, it is lemony, it is fantastic. If you buy feta cheese, a lot of times you buy feta cheese and you think, gosh, this doesn't taste as good as the other feta I tasted. Well, that's because feta has oodles and oodles, different types of feta. So there's Greek feta, there's French feta, there's Bulgarian feta, but Bulgarian feta is the king of feta cheese. So if you want a creamy, lemony punch and salt it's pretty salty, but it's not overbearing, you need to buy some Bulgarian cheese. You can get it at an international market, an Italian market, Italian store. I generally would never buy feta cheese in the regular grocer, because they're going to have a small little pack that they've opened a big box and unpacked. I want it more fresh than that. I buy the whole large box and I share it with my daughters and whoever needs some feta cheese, my sisters, whatnot. So, with that being said, I also want to make a comment about the salt. All of the salts, it's true, it is Celebrate, but you're using the lemon thyme infused, which is so good on chicken, on vegetables, and a multitude of things. All of that salt comes from Brittany, France. And all of the salts that are infused, the flavored salts, they're all infused with fresh herbs. And all of them start with Celebrate salt. So it is correct. So thank you for that. Now I'm going to get started on these blueberry muffins. Number one, I want to say that everything is at ultimate room temperature. The eggs I've had out for 3 or 4 hours. The butter, very soft. The cream cheese, I covered it because I wanted to put the blueberries on top of the bowl. We have a half of a block of cream cheese, 4 ounce. We have 4 tablespoons of butter, 1/2 cup of milk, 1 cup of sugar. I have pure cane sugar that I'm using, organic. I have 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. And I buy the lemon juice, it's 100% lemon juice at Trader Joe's. I love Trader Joe's. So I'm going to put a little bit of zest of a lemon. We have 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/2 of a teaspoon of baking soda. And I also have, I don't believe it's in the recipe, 1 teaspoon of my homemade vanilla, but you can use any vanilla, but I suggest you use pure vanilla because there is a definite difference in the taste. And why take these beautiful ingredients and put something fake with them? So I am going to start. And first thing that we're going to do, I also have 2 cups of blueberries. And remember that this is what we're going for. These beautiful cutie patooties, perfectly cooked. And you can feel when I unmolded these, all of the molds, because they're black and they are premium silicone, they crystallize the outside of your baked goods, which is so gorgeous and shiny. You can see that. It's so beautiful. And it also, you can tell from the crystallization was a little sticky on my hands when I unmolded them, but it also brings the sugar to a level where it's much tastier. It's like the difference of, making a caramel sauce, a caramel that is fake and making a real one. So you definitely want to try that. And it's something that you can't do in a tin mold. So I'm going to start with the butter. Tonight we do have a special. We're making this in the mini muffin tray. It makes 20 mini muffins and then it makes a little bit more. And I'm going to show you my little bit more. I used to make a small daisy cake in the past, but now I make 3 or 4 of the love little cupcakes that I'll bring to my cutie patooties, Frankie and Ivana, who live real close to me, my grandchildren. So I'm going to start with the butter. And I do like to use my KitchenAid usually when I'm baking. But one thing I do not like about KitchenAid is that if you have a small ingredient recipe, I'm just starting with the butter and the cream cheese, the beater isn't really picking that up. I have to stop every 2 seconds and it's annoying. Why can't it just do it? You could use the whisk, but it's not calling for me to whisk. It says to beat it. And beat it means with the beater. So our special is the muffin tray and the mini spatula and the French perforated baking sheet, which you can put 2 on one home size oven, 2 in 1 shelf. And I love that. So I'm just going to start with a whisk and I'm just going to mix these up. I'm going to start like pressing it down so I can get it kind of pressed together. Hopefully you can see this. I'll just do this towards the camera. Then I'm going to just whip this. And all I'm trying to do, I'm not trying to do anything genius here. I just want them to mix together so that I don't see any separation of yellow and white. And when your butter is at room temperature, it keeps your muffins from cracking. And it also blends so well together. You won't get the best blend unless you keep trying so difficult if you're not doing that. And you can see this looks like just like it's creamy colored. It's not exactly yellow and it's not exactly light. It's really like a pale, pale, pale yellow. One of those beautiful Pantones that I've seen a lot of clothes in this year. Creamy. It's creamy looking. So we've got that mixed together. And the next thing, and this is a little bit different. I never have recipes that we mix the flour and the sugar together at once, but this recipe does call for that. So you're beating the cream cheese and the butter until it's smooth. That's very smooth. And then we're going to add the lemon juice. And this is 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. You can use fresh lemon or you can use it from a bottle as you wish. This is just getting this a little bit more side. Looks like whipped cream. The next thing that we're going to do is add our milk. This is 1/2 cup of whole milk. And I am lactose free, so I use a lactose free milk. I don't have any problem with that in any of my recipes. So if you are lactose free, you should not have a problem. So what I'm going to do now, I want to mix this a little bit. I want to have a little bit more precision. I'm going to use the mini whisk. And the mini whisk is one of our tools that I certainly could not live without. It is a powerhouse entirely. And it's so precise in everything that you whisk with it. Really great. You can see it totally, there's no bumps or anything in this. Looks really good. I do suggest when you're baking also, I have this glass tray. I'm using this glass tray. You could use any type of tray. If you can fit your ingredients on one thing, honestly, this cake turner is a lifesaver because if you're baking a lot, you just put everything on one tray and then you're all set and ready to go. The next thing that we're going to do is add the eggs and we're going to beat until well blended. I don't suggest cracking the eggs on the side of the bowl. That is exactly how you get shells in them. And I will never get shells except when I'm on camera. So I'm going to do it in this little bowl here. This ramekin, another thing that I have very many of these, but I use them for all my recipes, which is great. These are beautiful farm fresh eggs. And I have the whisk here, so I'm just going to add these little. I'll add 1. I think the best thing to learn if you're baking, be patient with how you add your ingredients because it does matter. And if you think, like, for instance, some people feel like, oh, it doesn't matter what butter. I'll just use that. That butter is not good butter, but I'll use it because I'm baking. Well, if you wonder why baked goods don't taste good, I use my very best butter for baking. And when I go to France, I bring back as much butter as I possibly can, all vacuum packed from the store in my suitcase. It's allowed. So you definitely, I mean, the butter is so good. And I learned something this week that I was shocked about. I went to my daughter's house and she's always like, do you want something to eat? I was out grocery shopping and I stopped by and I said, sure, what do you have? She said, I'm just making some toast and some breakfast for the kids. And I'll make you some toast. And I said, okay, we'll have toast and jelly. I love to eat that once in a while. I put the butter on the toast that she gave me. The butter was so good. I told her, where did you get this butter? She said, believe it or not, it's organic sweet cream butter from Aldi. And it tasted like the French butter. I was absolutely, totally shocked. I haven't gotten there yet this week, but tomorrow is my day. I'm definitely going to do that. Okay, we have our eggs all mixed up. Then we are going to combine the flour, the sugar, baking powder, baking soda, and salt. So we have the flour here, and this is 2 cups of flour. Before I do anything with this flour, I'm going to whisk it because whisking your flour is like sifting it. You want to keep lumps out of everything that you make. This is the way to do it. So we're also going to add, so you can see me here, we're going to add the sugar. It's 1 cup of sugar. And like I said, I use the organic pure cane sugar you buy at Costco. And I there's a lot of other sugars that I use, but we won't talk about that right now because it's not for this recipe. There are other ones. So we're just mixing these 2 together. Then I have 1.5 teaspoons of the baking powder. And you'll notice that I whisk it one by one. It's not about just putting it in and not mixing it up, because if you just are happenstance about it and you don't mix it up, then remember, some of it is going to rise and be beautiful and some of it isn't, and because it doesn't have enough of that baking powder. So we're going to do the same with the baking soda. So I'm just mixing this up again. This looks beautiful. The other thing is, I didn't measure out the salt. Excuse me for that. About 6 turns, not a lot. But you do need the salt because the salt, the baking soda, and the baking powder all put together. It's not salt for this recipe. Certainly it's not about taste, it's about action. It's what the salt actually does. The next thing I'm going to do is take this vanilla. I made it a year ago, February. It smells so good. And the vanilla beans are kind of falling apart right now. So you can see that the vanilla bean specks are in there. So it's not vanilla bean paste, but it's vanilla bean, the liquid from the vanilla bean and what I mixed together. That's about 1 teaspoonful. And I don't believe that you can ever have too much vanilla. So this is nice and liquefied. We have all the ingredients in here. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to add the flour by thirds. So I don't measure that. I just tap the side of my bowl. I have a good idea. There's about 2/3 left here. And then I'm just going to mix this. Now, when you do this like this, what you'll notice is you never have a problem with the flour. And you can see I am only mixing this with a mini whisk. So it is the flour because it's pretty much pre-sifted by my mini whisk. And it's also mixed with the sugar, which the sugar, for me, it acts a little bit as a separator of the flour as well. So it doesn't get clumpy and stuck together, because those sugar grains for the pure cane sugar seem a little bit larger than just a regular granulated sugar. So I'm going to add another third. Show you how this is looking. It's beautiful. I think I accidentally turned my oven off, but that's okay because I don't want some old. I hope you can see this. That's how it's getting thicker as time goes. So now I'm going to do the last third. This seems like my last third had more than the others. And you could do the opposite because in the beginning you have actually more liquid than you do powder. So this is a thick mixture and don't think that it's wrong. It is turning out that way because that's what it is. Now, one thing I didn't do with my recipe, I didn't toss my blueberries in any flour or cornstarch, but you know what? Muffins turned out fine. So now you can see this. It's very dense. It's a very dense flour. That's how muffins are. This is fine. You can also substitute, you can use gluten-free flour cup for cup and add 2 tablespoons of butter and your muffins are going to turn out perfect too. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to take our mini zester here and I'm going to zest about a half of the lemon into the mix. What you want to do is make sure you're constantly rotating your lemon. And the reason you want to do that is because you don't want the yellow here, the bitterness. You don't want bitter muffins. You want beautiful, gorgeous brunch muffins. Blueberry, my favorite. Okay, so we have a little on the top here. We have a lot in there that's going to taste so nice. Okay. Now we're going to add our blueberries and I'm going to add them 1/2 and then the other half and I'm going to mix it with the spatula. And remember the spatula does come with the mini muffin tray. I think Eric has posted that for you. And also the French perforated baking sheet, which I call our miracle baking sheet because 2 of those baking sheets, they hold all of our molds. All of the molds fit on them. And 2 of them can go on 1 shelf in the oven. And I have a tendency to want to double bake things. If I make muffins, I like to do 2 batches because I can put one away. I like to give one away. I like to, make sure that I share. And also, if you want something in case somebody comes or someone calls and says they're coming, you can pull them out of the freezer. And the cool thing is they taste like you just made them. They're not something that you freeze that doesn't taste good. As long as you wrap them correctly, store them in a container, they turn out great. So I'm just carefully turning these. What I don't want to do is I don't want to smush my blueberries. So remember that part of the whole baking process, and this was hard for me to learn because I like to get done with things and get onto, I'm a very task-oriented person. I want to get onto my next task. And I had to learn if you're going to bake, you can have more tasks after, but you must respect what you're doing and do it correctly, not just rush through it. I love using our spoons, our 3 spoons like this. They're perfect for getting all of the dough off of the spatula. Because, let's be honest, you scrape it on the side of the bowl up here, the tip of the bowl, then you still have to pick it up and you have to get it off. So you're better off just scraping it off. Look at this beautiful mix. Look how gorgeous this is. Who doesn't want to make these blueberry muffins? So we've got all of our ingredients here. I'm just going to move these out of our way. Keep our area nice and clean. Which sometimes when I get done with these classes, I look at the mess I made and I'm like, oh my goodness. How did I do that? Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is the French perforated baking sheet side. It's perfect. the tray. This is mini muffins, and they make 20 muffins plus a little. So I use, in the first ones, I use this large scoop. This is a medium scoop. We don't sell these. I actually bought these. And the medium is much better than the large. And I like to have control to know that I get blueberries in every single scoop. If you use a large scoop, I had to keep put it in and then take some out. So I was like, I'm going to get the other scoop that I usually use and make sure that I use that. And you want pretty much a flat scoop. You can always add more later. When you're done, you can add more. And with this, using this scoop, you can even fill it all the way. This dough is just so beautiful and so creamy and nice. And always I want to make sure that I get the blueberries in there. And because of the amount of baking powder we have in here, you can see that they rise really beautifully, which is nice. And if you don't want to use the cream cheese, you can also use yogurt. Yogurt makes beautiful substitutions for things as well. And especially when you make any type of quiche or frittata, I always use yogurt instead of sour cream or cottage cheese. And the reason I do that is because it's gorgeous. It rises and it doesn't flop. It doesn't sink. It stays up and looks gorgeous and tastes really good. So what's nice about using a scoop, you could think that your good measure, that you're going to just scoop it with a spoon and a spatula and it's going to come out great. It's not. This is much better. And you could see I was playing with the scoop on the other batch. And you could see that most of mine are the same size, but my last one I had a lot of dough, so I put really a lot just to see the difference. It looks more like a muffin top. And I don't prefer that look. I like the straight sides. I think they look really good. They're easy for kids to hold. If you ever make muffins for kids, these are the ones to make because kids can hold them. And if you ever host a brunch or a party or have a breakfast and you have guests over, these are so easy to make. They take longer right now because I'm talking the whole time. But generally they don't really take very long to make at all. Long as you get your ingredients out earlier, 3 or 4 hours, to make sure they're really at room temperature, you'll be absolutely fine. Okay, now. Okay, I think we have a couple spots I could add a little, like this one. I don't want them too big because I want them to adhere to the shape of the mold, and I don't want them going so much over it. That's fine. The next thing I'm going to do, and you always do this, you take your tray and you tap it. Now, this isn't a very liquefied dough or batter. You can also do this. And if you have a really thick, without too much moisture, you can see how they've already settled in. And now I really know where I can go for a little bit more, like here. You want them full about 3/4 of the way, not entirely. But I can see where some need a little more. Okay. I like actually better to bounce it, get underneath it. Test your coordination with our 4T's mold. And if I can do it, anyone can, right? Okay, so I'm going to stick these in the oven and I have something else I'm going to show you. The next thing, you can do a sugar crumb on the top of these muffins. It's very simple to do. You can do a glaze. You don't really need it because really the star of this muffin, I always like to talk about what's the star of this show? What's the star of the recipe? Leslie's recipe, the star was the feta and the tomato. And then you have the kale and all the other things. So if I had to pick another one, it would be probably the kale. What's the star taste garlic and salt. So if you look at that, the flavor profile is really important. If I put nuts or I put other things into these blueberry muffins, I'm going to taste it, and not I'm going to taste the blueberries, but I would taste a lot of other things. And I don't use a lot of icing on things, except if I'm making a chocolate cake or anything like carrot cake needs a buttercream frosting. I love. But these, you don't need anything else in here. There's lemon, there's blueberries, there's vanilla. All of that is so good. And I want to show you what I did with the leftover batter. So just to give you an idea, this is how much batter I have left. You could make a mini loaf. You can make a mini cake. You can make cupcakes, or you could wait and do some more of those. So I want to show you what I made here. I made these beautiful little hearts. You can pick off the, the sides of the little crumbs. Beautiful little hearts in the heart tray. And look at the back. It has a beautiful little heart on it. And that's not all. Look at this one. Hearts. Look at the back. Do you see what it says? Love is imprinted on the bottom of the mold. Comes right on your muffin. I think that's so cute for kids to take to school. And this one is just, this one is a heart with zigzags on it. So there's 3 lines of love, 3 lines of the heart with zigzag, 3 lines of the solid heart, and 3 lines of the heart and the puzzle looking piece. So I have so many exciting things going on right now. I'm just bursting at the seams with excitement, but I can't tell. I can't tell, but I'm very, very excited about it. A lot of things. I've been updating our website, and just the cookbooks coming out every 2 months is really, really exciting. And the cookbooks have just a wealth of information. And really, if you want to build your knowledge, we're all cooks, but we all want to be better. And the only way we get better is by doing. And the reason that we do is because we get excited about something that we're doing. And I want you always to remember, you really don't need more recipes. What you need is the right tools. And when I think about that, how many tools I use in my kitchen every day. And the reason that I came to this company in literally 2002, August 19, 2002, and the reason I came to the company was because I watched Martha Stewart, and at 11:15 every single day, she would say, okay, it's time to get your silpat out, and we're going to bake some cookies. And I didn't know what a silpat was, but she educated me. And I remember buying my first silpat. I bought 5 of them, and I gave them to my sisters. I don't think anybody even used it until I literally started in the company, because they weren't educated on how to actually use them. But then when they did start using them, they're a game changer, a life changer. I do not ever cook or bake anything without those items. And I started using them because they were so good, not because I own part of the company or I was selling. And I think that if we can revolutionize the way people bake, the way they cook at home, and the way they enjoy the process along the way, we are hitting home runs every single day. And I'm very excited about that. And the more that I can share it with people, the happier I am, because I know that there are people cooking all across the United States today that are having a better experience because they use these products. So I just want to say hats off to you. Thank you for joining in with us. We'll have another class here in 2 more weeks. And I'm really excited to continue sharing all great things with you. If you haven't reviewed any of our products or our class, please do so. You might see your name show up in a highlight for your superb words and your nice sharing of this great company and our wonderful teams like Leslie and people that are coming here and doing these cooking classes for you and with you. And thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night. Let's all just keep spreading the love of cooking all over. So thank you. Bye, Leslie. Thank you so much. And thank you, Eric, who stays behind the scenes. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. So thank you, everyone. Have a great night. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Good night, everyone.